Ashley.
Welcome to Rink Rookie, a girl's guide to the NHL. I'm your co-host, Ashley.
And I'm your other co-host, Arielle, and welcome to our podcast.
Well, it's the next week. How have you been, Arielle?
I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw there's been news. Quinn Hughes is in the news.
Oh my God. A baby captain. Is that young? I feel like that's young. 23 has to be young for a captain, right?
I had to look it up because immediately I went, wait, so what are the qualifications? Because I first I looked up how old he was, and then I had to look up I'm like, okay, what are the qualifications to become a hockey captain? And it's actually really simple and endearing, and I really like that. But I think that's young. But I mean, hey, if everyone wants you to be the captain, then kudos.
That is cool. It just feels very young. I was telling my roommate about it, and I was like, the NHL is really out here making 23-year-old children the captain of a whole team of adult men for the most part.
I know. I didn't look up who the youngest captain was in NHL. I'll get to that.
Okay. So this episode, our second episode, we're going to be going over each position that plays on the ice, the layout of the rink, and some common rules. We'll have some really cute infographics put up on our Instagram when this goes live. Just those visual learners, it was really helpful for me because I ended up making my own version of the ice and the players and stuff, and it felt really helpful to me to see it like that. And yeah.
We're visual learners here.
Yeah. But also listener learners. If you or listen to audiobooks, I feel like that is also.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Same. This kind of the same as a podcast, I guess. We're gonna start with the positions in hockey.
Positions in hockey. Center is first. Okay, so the center's role is the most important to the action on the ice. Centers are involved with the most face-offs, which is a puck drop between two opposing players to restart play. In a game, the three forwards, which is the center and wingers, work closely together. The two wingers pass from side to the center so that he can shoot the puck. The center also allows the two wing forwards to score by distracting the opponent's defenders. The center is not only occupied with scoring, he must also support the defense to keep the puck as far away from his own goal as possible. This is interesting.
I feel like it's all starting to make sense. Now, you're reading one paragraph.
And you went, oh.
And coupling that with the hockey I've been watching. It just suddenly it's clicking together. Puzzle pieces just slowly dropping in.
Right, because I know, yeah, because I'm obviously to me, I'm they're all over the place on the ice.
Yes.
But
so fast.
Literally just reading this, I'm oh wait, so everyone is kind of keep themselves where they need to be with who they need to be, and I had no idea that they were so coordinated like that.
Obviously, I'm sure in theory my mind was yes, of course, obviously they have a job that's very specific to their position, but also it looks like they're just all going after the puck to make sure it doesn't go in their goal.
Essentially, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
I was isn't that hockey? It's hockey and soccer. I was isn't it just a simple rule?
Yeah.
One rule and that's the game.
Honestly, except for maybe football. Just,
I mean, I figured because I did notice during the playoffs, they would obviously when they would have the face-offs, I would kind of pay attention to who was where, and I'm oh, okay, this is interesting. But they wasn't as with the center and the wingers, those never changed as much as everyone else did. So I was okay, and that kind of reminded me of football. The little bit I know of football.
We're getting there.
I can get with this slowly but surely. Okay, a center's task in a game of hockey. Here we go. They score goals, they complete passes, they win face-offs, or lose, I guess, but you don't want that. You support your wingers, collect rebounds in opponent's goal area, you keep the puck and opponents away from your own goal, you lead breakouts, and switch quickly from attack to defense after a puck loss.
Truly makes so much sense.
I'm breakouts. I'm that's a word that I need to in hockey. What is that? I'm trying to visual. I'm okay, you lead a breakout. What's a breakout?
if they're all huddled in one spot against the boards where the puck is just being hidden basically, and they're all trying to go after it. And so once you're all huddled out, he breaks out of the huddle.
Are you I don't know. Is that 100%? Or is that your final answer?
No, because we're gonna go over terms in this episode. So I guess stay tuned to see if I'm correct or not.
Yeah, I want to say whatever we're guessing on. This is why I'm I want more interaction. Tell us what we're wrong at.
Yeah, I would love someone to just tweet, "Hey, just so you know, you were wrong."
Yeah,
that's fine.
That's what we're here to learn.
We're openly admitting we don't know.
We don't know. Like, hang on, I'm gonna make a note of that. I'm like, the breakouts. I want to know what that means.
Next up are the left and right wingers. The left and right wingers are at the center side. They support the center and score goals. Wingers must be especially fast ice skaters. They often have to pass long distances, create opportunities in the opponent's crease, and attack the opponent's goal to take advantage of scoring opportunities. The forwards playing on the left or right side of the ice are referred to as the left winger and right winger. That means that the right wing forward plays primarily on the right side of the field, and the left winger forward on the left. They provide the center with passes that allow him to score goals. Just like the center, the wingers take on different tasks depending on the game situation. They try to score goals, and if the opposing team has the puck, they go on defense. Thus, the right winger covers the left defender of the opposing team, and the left winger the right defender.
Oh, okay. Well, that explains why the Seattle Kraken, they have Brandon Tanev.
Yeah.
I know he's fast. I've
Turbo.
seen him. Yeah. I was like, okay, that makes so much sense.
Right? It's truly just like all coming together.
Oh my
And it's
gosh.
wild. Like if I just maybe read these a couple months ago, maybe I wouldn't struggle so much. But you know, we're here now.
We were just diving in head first.
Yeah. And I feel like that it's like the passion to actually watch it versus like, do I care enough to look it up? And I've gotten to that point where like, okay, I would actually like to know what's going on.
We ended up here.
Yeah. So these are the tasks of a winger. They move the puck out of the defense zone, help the center score goals, take passes from the forwards, score goals, prevent the opponent's defender from getting the puck, block shots and passes from the opponent, and intercept passes and start breakaways. Start breakaways.
Okay. All right, now let's talk about what the defensemen do, left and right. Two defensemen play like wingers on the left and right of the ice. Their main task is to protect their own goal from attacks by the opposing team and to get the puck for their own team. So they're getting in the action. Like the other skaters, the two defenders take on different tasks. So if their own team starts an attack, the defenders do not hesitate and will chase after them to support their teammates in front of the opposing goal. So I imagine these are all the fighters on the team.
Yeah, it's taking me back to that one clip where they mic'd up Vince Dunn and he's like, you know, I'm not a fighter this year. I'm just not.
It was adorable. Don't ask me how many times I watched that.
Yeah.
All right, but at the same time, they can't leave any gaps in the defense, and they got to be back to their own goal area quickly so that the opponent cannot take advantage of their absence, which is it's essential for the defenders to be at the right place at the right time. These objectives make the role of a defenseman very demanding, so they got to react quickly and communicate with their teammates, and they do a lot of backward skating. The two defensemen often act as a well-rehearsed couple on the ice, while the three forwards are mixed in the substitutions during the course of the game. Okay, that actually makes a lot of sense. The two defenders are usually tactically and closely coordinated and know the peculiarities of their partner. It could be challenging when two defenders play together for the first time in a match, which, yeah, I can see how that can be difficult. Yeah, like, because you're unsure of your partner's communication.
That would be really shitty to, like, be a defenseman and then not like the other one. So, like, I'm sure they just wouldn't play well, you know?
I would hope that they do, like, they have, like, bonding time, right?
Here's a chemistry test to make sure you two work out together.
It's like a chemistry read, but on ice. All right, so here's what a defenseman does. They defend against opponents' attacks. They stop passes, gain possession of puck. They control the game if the opposing team is in possession of a puck. They control their opponent, clear rebounds from their own crease. They pass puck to attackers. They support forwards in their attack, work closely with other defenders, coordinate with team members, make very quick decisions, and they make sure to bring the puck out from their own zone. Oh, man,
I like them. I think they're my faves.
Defenders got a lot of work. They kind of like, from what it seems, well, I mean, I feel like other than the goalie, they do like a good heavy lifting there.
Someone's got to do it.
That sounds like fun though. Like, I'm like, if I could pick one, I'd want their job.
Yeah, I don't think I'd want to do it, but I think they're the most fun to watch.
I'd want to. Could I? No, but I'd want to.
Exactly. Like, I don't think I could. The idea is nice.
I'm way too small. I'd get taken out in a heartbeat. Career over. All right, Ashley, what's a goalie do?
So the goalie defends the opponent's shot. I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory. The goalkeeper position is a key position with special training and their own equipment. I have heard they have like their own special coach, like it's separate.
Yeah, I heard that too.
The main task of the goalie is to not let the puck into the goal and to strengthen the self-confidence of the team by successfully defending said goal with his body. A strong, safe goalkeeper allows his team to play more offensively and strengthens their back in critical situations. The skaters support the goalie, who has to fend off dozens of shots a game. Particularly important are rebounds, i.e. the shots that the goalkeeper could fend off but not hold on to, which thus allows the opponent an additional chance at a goal. Here the goalie is dependent on the defenders, who should clear the puck from the crease after a rebound. So while the goalkeeper used to guard the goal, today he is much more actively involved in the game. For example, he can intercept the puck behind the goal or pass it to his teammates and thus initiate an attack. By the way, unlike his 5 fellow players on the ice, the goalkeeper may freeze the puck, i.e. hold or cover it with his catching glove and thus interrupt the game. If he is unsure exactly where the puck is, he can also throw himself onto the ice with his whole body, thus preventing a goal. His whole body.
Whole body. I know. I've noticed that goalies are super flexible because like they're just like all over
Everywhere.
they're all over the place. It's so impressive. Like that's why you want the big guys. Can you imagine? Like I I said can you imagine, but I honestly cannot. Like I need to see this in person. I need to see this in action.
See, in theory, it's
Because
like one of those things where you're like, I think I could do that, but then realistically, you absolutely cannot do it. Like, yeah, I can
my
block a goal.
my mind can't wrap around the fact, even though I've seen it on TV, but like my brain's like that's not real. Like there's no way like a 6'2", 6'3" guy is like literally on the splits in all
Yeah.
that gear,
Mm-hmm.
moving and like being able to keep his eye on like a tiny little puck. Amazing.
Good hand-eye coordination is obviously essential. Okay, so this is essentially what a goalie does. They fend off shots from the opponent, cover the puck to avoid rebounds, pass the puck to make a surprise counter, and show mental fortitude, which I feel like that just obviously them essentially, but I feel like that's a team effort for everybody.
I would be so scared. I would be scared to be a goalie. That's like one I give massive kudos to all people who are like goaltenders and stuff, because you're there, you got to protect. There's so much pressure, and then all of a sudden the entire game and all these people are coming at you in these dangerous skates and equipment.
So next we're going to talk about the layout of the ice. I found a really good infograph of kind of how the ice is laid out and painted, which Arielle has been sharing some really cool videos over on our socials of all the teams painting their ice for this season. It's so cool. Like so cool.
It's so fascinating.
I would love to see it in person. Like, I don't know if that's something you could go watch.
Oh, like watch them paint the ice?
Yeah.
You're like, hey, can I come in? I just want to watch you guys work.
I'll just stand. I'll be really quiet. You won't even notice I'm here. Just let me sit for like a minute or two.
I wonder how long it takes. So we got a picture in front of us. It is basically a hockey rink with a bunch of numbers on it. And it shows where everything is and what everything like means, I guess. All right, so we got the center of the ice, which is like the little blue circle with the center line going down. I feel like that's easy enough. The neutral zone. So on the ice, there's like 2 giant blue lines, and then everything in the middle of that is the neutral zone. And then you also have neutral zone face-offs in like different spots. So we have on the other side of the blue lines, which is not the center or neutral zone, but closer to going into the direction of each side's goal or net, is called a slot. I heard that watching the game, but I had no idea where they were talking about. I was like, what's a slot? What's a slot?
It's literally just like the middle between the 2 red circles.
Okay,
that leads right to the goal.
And then the red circles are the offensive zone, defensive zone, face-off circles?
Yes.
Okay. And then there's the goal line, which is, I'm pretty sure everyone knows what the goal line is.
The goal rest.
That's how you know when you make a goal. And then there's the net and the goal, and then the crease, which is the little like half circle that's in front of the net.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Like, do we have these little things?
I feel like that's super helpful information.
Yeah. And it's usually painted blue.
Arielle kind of explained the layout of the ice. I know obviously you can't see it since you're listening, but look one up. Maybe it'll be helpful. Like I said, we'll post it on our Instagram, but just to kind of explain what each area is, the center ice and face-off circle is at the center of the ice where the puck is put in play by dropping the puck by the referee at the start of each period and after a goal is scored. During the dropping of the puck, only one player from each team may be in the center ice circle. Once the puck is dropped, however, teammates from both teams can enter this area to assist in controlling the puck for his team.
Neutral zone, the area between the blue lines indicating each team's defensive zone. Neutral zone, face-off, dots, 4 dots in the neutral zone where a linesman can drop the puck after a stoppage of play. And the blue line, a solid blue line spanning the width of the ice, indicates the border between the neutral zone and the given team's defensive zone.
Then we've got the slot, which is the area directly in front of the goaltender between the two defensive zone face-off circles. The high slot is an area of the slot that is furthest away from the goal and closer to the blue line. And then we've got the offensive and defensive zone face-off circles. So they're going to be 2 large circles in a given team's zone where a linesman can drop the puck to restart play. There are 4 on the ice, 2 in a team's offensive zone and 2 in that team's defensive zone. Given that each team has an offensive zone and a defensive zone, there are only 4 of these circles on the ice. And then we've got the goal line, which is the red line spanning the width of the ice on which the goal sits in each zone.
Ooh, trapezoid, the area directly behind the goal in which it is permissible for the goaltender to touch the puck. The goal net, the goals sit on the center of each goal line in a team's defensive zone. And then the crease, the area directly in front of each goals, which is painted blue.
I want to pay attention when I go to games now and like actually see it versus just seeing it online.
Yeah. I know the little trapezoid in the back. I paid attention to that because I did notice that the goaltenders only have like that's like that whole little section back there. I'm like, man, they have a lot of play there. I'd be so nervous to leave that net.
Right? Oh my God, I watched an old game. It must have been from the playoffs. I think it was because I was watching the playoff games for the Kraken. And they just didn't have a goalie. There was just no goalie at all. And he was just like gone. I was like, I need to figure out what rule where that happens, where they're just like not allowed to have a goalie.
Oh, no, I think it's like, was it empty net?
I don't know.
Because that, the amount of times like I watched like, they had an empty net and I was like freaking out and I was like, oh my God, why isn't there a guy there? And then I had to like, because even my dad was like, they don't have like a goalie there, but like they're still playing. And I was like freaking the heck out. And then apparently at like a certain point of like the end of the game, I guess they can make a decision to take the goaltender out and then just put an extra player in.
Oh.
Which is so risky, but that's a fun rule, I guess.
I'm excited to get to that rule because I had no idea and I was just so like anxious the whole time. They only managed to get like 1 goal in. So like wasn't even like that big of a deal, but it's just like because they were losing anyway. But
I gotta look it up because I'm like, I wonder if in that case you'd be able to put an extra defender out. Because I didn't really like pay attention to see like who was getting out on the ice for that extra man. But now I'm thinking about it, it would make sense to have maybe 3 defenders out.
Yeah, we're gonna go over some common rules in the game. This is just like common rules that everyone should know like going in, and then there's more, I'm sure, like in-depth rules that we can cover at a later date, but just so we have a lay of the land, I feel like it's good to know these.
Okay. I do also want to mention that they do substitute put in another defenseman.
Nice.
Look at that.
I love that.
Look at me learning things.
I would have picked the defenseman too. So, you know, it means that I'm thinking correctly. Right. You were thinking correctly in the sense of the game.
Put us in, coach.
Yeah. Please don't. No, I just didn't watch.
I look like Bambi on the ice. Anyway, back to common rules.
So some common rules. Closing hand on puck. Any player other than a goaltender who catches a puck must immediately knock or place it back down to the ice. Any violation of this will result in a 2-minute minor. Face-offs. All players take up set positions around 1 of 5 face-off circles on the ice. Only 2 players are allowed inside the circle during the face-off. Location of the face-off is determined by the cause of the last stoppage in play. That makes sense.
All right, then you have the delay of game. The following actions will result in a 2-minute minor penalty for the delay of the game. Deliberately shooting or batting the puck outside of the playing arena. Deliberately displacing the goal from its normal position. Ooh. Failure to provide the proper number of players on the ice surface after a warning from an official or making an illegal substitution. Ooh. And then playing the puck with a high stick, which is when an opponent bats a puck out of the air with a stick above shoulder height, and play shall be stopped and a face-off shall ensue. If a goal is scored by a puck that made contact with a stick that was above the height of the goal crossbar, then it will be disallowed. That just made so much sense because I remember watching a game and I was like, why didn't it count? Everyone else knew what was happening, but I didn't. I
remember when I went to see the Kings a couple years ago, and they move out of the box so quickly and like in and out, in and out, in and out. I was like, what's happening? And she's like, oh, there's just too many people on the ice, so they had to like get a penalty or something. And I was like, what do you mean there's too many people on the ice? Like, how do they not keep track? And after watching more games, I understood, like, they're just moving in and out so fast. Like, who's keeping count? Like, I guess they're supposed to keep count and know that there's already, oh, hey, there's already 5. Don't go out yet.
Yeah.
Wait till someone's coming back. But, like, insane that they just, like, aren't keeping count.
Is it like honor system?
I think they get a certain amount of time, like 10 seconds or something. I'll have to look up the actual time. I don't want to, like, say that and be wrong. But I think they're allowed a certain amount of time to switch players from the box. And if they go over that time and there's too many people still on the ice, they get a penalty maybe.
The penalty.
Yeah.
Well, that would make sense.
Okay, so some more common rules. Icing is when a player on his team side of the red center line shoots the puck all the way down the ice and it crosses the red goal line at any point other than the goal. Icing is not permitted when teams are at equal strength or on the power play. When this occurs, play is stopped and the puck is returned to the other end of the ice for a face-off in the offending team zone. Icing the puck is not called if the goalie leaves the crease to play the puck, even if he does not touch the puck. If an official rules an opposing player could have played the puck before it crossed the red goal line, an official may wave off the ice, calling if he deems it was an attempted pass.
I found out that was a rule put in for, like, safety.
Oh, that makes sense.
Because, like, they don't want all the guys, like, rushing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, that makes sense.
You can still fight, but we're trying to help you.
that I know. When I found that, I was like, that's actually kind of funny. Of all things to be for safety. But sure, I guess.
Okay, so we've got offsides. A team is offside when any member of the attacking team precedes the puck over the defending team's blue line. The position of the player's skate, and not that of his stick, is the determining factor. If both skates are over the blue line before the puck, the player is offside. If he only has one skate over the blue line and on it, one off it, he is onside.
Overtime. Any regular season game that ends regulation play with a tie score will go into a 5-minute sudden death overtime period. If at the end of that overtime period the game remains tied, the game will then go into a shootout. During the playoffs, there will not be a shootout, and overtime periods will be 20 minutes in length. I don't know why, for, like, the playoffs, to make them do that, like, for 20 minutes just seems so mean. Because, like, say you do so many games. Well, I don't even remember. Who was it that had to keep going into overtime? I feel like, was it the Canes? I don't even remember. It was only a few months ago. But they kept, like, going, like, 20 minutes. I think they did, like, 4 20-minute, like, overtimes. I was like, oh my god, can someone
That feels like a whole other game. Like, just
it felt like another game. They were, like, almost ready to go again, and then someone finally scored and the game was over, and then they had to, like, travel to, like, play another game. I'm like, that is so mean. Because I remember I think even in the Olympics, because that's kind of, like, when I would, like, watch hockey, like, whenever it was on in the middle of the night.
Mm-hmm.
They do, like, a regular, at least from what I remember, I don't know if they changed it recently, but when I would watch it, they would do the 5 minutes and then the sudden death, and then the shootout. That's how it would be for, like, the Olympics. So I'm like, oh, why is that not the way to do it for the playoffs? But whatever.
You would feel like they're kind of on the same level, but I guess not.
Yeah, so that was that little surprise. All right, and then we have penalties. A player's actions that violate the rules of the game may be given penalties at the discretion of the officials. Penalties are classified into 3 categories: minor, major, and misconduct. For a minor penalty, players are required to serve 2 minutes in the penalty box while their team plays shorthanded, so just one less guy. Hopefully it's just one person getting a penalty. A minor penalty will expire if the opposing team scores while on the power play. Major penalties require a player to serve 5 minutes in the penalty box and only expire at the end of that time. Misconduct penalties vary in length. Okay, that makes sense, because I've seen some 10-minute misconducts. I'm like, damn.
That sucks. That's got to be, like, embarrassing.
You're just chilling in that little box.
Yeah.
They call it the sin bin.
Yeah. So penalty shot. A penalty shot is awarded when a player is pulled down from behind on the breakaway, scoring opportunity, or when the net is deliberately dislodged by an opposing goaltender or defenseman. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the goal gets moved more than I thought it would. Right?
Really?
I feel like I've seen it a good handful of times when I'm watching. I'm just like, I don't know what, like, did I think it was stuck to the ice before?
I know, I've seen it go flying, and I'm like, oh, it's really just kind of there.
I think maybe it's weighted down. I don't know. I have
It's
questions
gotta
now.
be. I mean, I know all these guys are, like, heavy, but
yeah,
they're
and
strong.
then power play. So when one team has more players on the ice than the other team, because one player is serving a penalty, so they just have more power, so to speak, because they're one man more than the other team.
Have you seen that video of, I don't even remember, I have to look it up because it's really funny, and I might post it on our socials when I find it, when both teams had so many penalties that, like, basically, like, each team only had like 2 players on the ice.
No.
I have to find it. It's hilarious. The penalty box is full. I think even the coach ended up in there. It was hilarious.
That's embarrassing. All I'm saying.
Then we got our shootout. Any regular season game that ends in overtime with a tie score will go into a shootout. A shootout is a series of penalty shots in which each team is allowed 3 attempts to score in alternating fashion. If 3 attempts, the teams remain tied, the shootout will continue to alternate shots until one team fails to match the attempt of the other. The winner of the shootout will be awarded 1 goal, and there's the win. It's kind of like soccer.
Yeah.
That much I know.
All this makes so much sense. It's truly like the puzzle is complete now.
It's interesting how many sports have like kind of like the off. When I heard them saying like offsides and stuff like that, I was like, oh, like soccer, because I had just watched the World Cup and I was kind of learning that as I go. I'm just learning a lot of sports all at once.
Yes. All right. I think we've got everything covered right now. I think we told you a little bit about us last episode. We did the positions and some rules, the layout of the ice. We're getting closer. That's exciting.
Closer to hockey season beginning. I feel like once it begins, it'll be exciting to actually get to kind of come back to like this little thing that we got here and really put it to work.
I'm thinking we should just do like a roundup of each game that's happened since we recorded last and kind of chat about them and like what we see happening in the future. And yeah,
terms that we learn. I think we'll definitely take each of these. Whatever we don't know now, we'll learn.
Yes.
Because there's some terms in here that I'm like, I'm not really sure what that means. But a good majority of it actually makes a lot of sense. And I'm going to be paying attention to like what each person's role is.
Yes, that makes so much more sense now. Just knowing with each player. So now I guess my quest is to figure out what the player does, like what their title is, and then following them.
Yeah.
Because like obviously I have my favorites and I know what they play, but like now actually seeing them do it and seeing if they're like following what the like term says they're supposed to do and like understanding what they're doing.
Right? It's like I know what your job title is, but I don't know what you do. Basically, is what we were going through. Okay. Oh, and I looked up to circle back. Mm-hmm. I looked up who the youngest captain in NHL history was. I didn't look up like currently, but Connor McDavid of the Oilers was named captain when he was 19. He's 26 now. Is he? I don't know if he's still is he still the captain? I think he is. Oh yeah, he's been the captain ever since, and he's 26. That is wild.
That's crazy. 19. I didn't know what I wanted. Any clue at 19. Like I had no clue.
Can you imagine having like a 19-year-old like being the one to talk to the ref?
You're like 36 back there. You're no teeth left.
We're sending the 19-year-old in.
He'll figure it out. Obviously, I'm sure he knows what he's supposed to be doing. It's just like crazy.
That's wild. But hey, that's cool. That's hockey.
That's not my business. I don't get paid to make those decisions. I did just want to kind of credit the sources that I pulled all this information from. They've been really helpful as far as like me looking up and kind of learning as I go through. But I took information from howtheyplay.com, Oweo.com, and the ChicagoWolves.com. I'll put all of them in the description box on YouTube if you're curious and want to look it up yourself. But like I said, we will put up some cute little infographics up on Instagram just to help those visual learners, because I myself am one also. And I think that concludes this episode. You know where to find us on social media at Rink Rookie Pod, and that'll be on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, which has nothing posted on it yet, but will. And then each of us follow us. You can follow me, Ariel, at Ariel Garcia on Twitter, and then everything else at It's Ariel Garcia. With 2 L's and an E. Yes, Arielle, not the basic way. I guess if you want to follow me for whatever reason, it's AE Newbie, NewBy. Instagram, Twitter. That's about all I am anywhere on the internet. And yeah, I think we will see you guys next week for maybe some lingo, and maybe some more terms. And then I think the next week preseason will start. Preseason begins. And then we're in it. I'm so ready. I'm excited. All right. Till next time. Adios. Bye-bye.